Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/whiskeywinemoon. Over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That was a shout out or flashback from the past. This is a very special show for us. 1 year ago today, we launched our very first show with 3 chicks, 2 sets of work headphones, a pair of earbuds, and only 1 blue ball microphone. Today marks our 1-year anniversary of Whiskey, Wine, and Moonshine, and now we're 3 chicks still, with 3 blue ball mics and a ton of good memories. Welcome everyone to Whiskey, Wine, and Moonshine. And hopefully we've got some new listeners who've recently found us via our Orange is the New Black podcast that we posted last week. And there may be some people who are joining us for the first time. We are Lady Buddha, who's the whiskey. Oh, and she was having technical difficulties earlier, so I see she's on the cast. What's up, Buddha?
Woo, woo, woo. What's up? Made it.
We have the wine, who is Miss Smart. How are you? She's doing pageant hands, y'all.
I'm well.
And I'm Sojo. I'm the Moonshine. So let's start with the most important part of the podcast, our beverages. Now, Buddha, I know you're in another hotel room.
Oh, goodness.
Have you had a chance to get settled? Because, I mean, I know you said you, like, what's your deal?
I'm definitely not settled. However, I do have wine because I'm at an event and there was an open bar. So I got a glass while I was eating dinner, and I brought a glass up. So I'm just drinking red wine.
Very nice, very nice.
I would like another glass, but I'm going to just try to nurse that one.
We might need another glass before the end of the show. Miss Smart, what you got?
I have a sweet red wine. I don't know.
Wow. You also have mics dropping.
Yeah, something fell. The mic fell. I don't know the name of it because it's in the kitchen, and I'm not going to get up and go get it. So let's just go with Miss Smart has sweet red wine.
All right. And I actually have some authentic moonshine that is that's mixed together with some pink lemonade and some strawberries. So that's what I have. So that's it for us in our
how many teeth did the person have who sold it to you? Because that's how I judge authenticity.
You assume that it was sold to me.
What you doing in your backyard?
But no, this is that good that even though I tried to dilute it with the lemonade, I'm still smelling the moonshine. So it's gonna be a very interesting evening this evening. I do see Black Rob in the chat. Just want to say what's up, and he's saying congratulations on our 1-year anniversary. Thank you.
Woo, woo, woo.
You know, it's one of those things where we didn't even realize that a year had gone by until Buddha actually mentioned it this afternoon. So I felt like a husband who had, forgotten the anniversary, and I had to run out and get a card and some gifts and stuff.
I'm watching you, Jojo.
But it was perfect because we really didn't have anything to talk about. We didn't have a planned theme. So it's kind of cool that it is our anniversary because we get to flashback a little bit with the audience. But first, before we get into all of that, let's do our feedback. Let's see. Let's start with our Stitcher feedback. And this is where if you leave us a 5-star review on Stitcher, not only will we be eternally grateful, we will also read your comments live on the air. So here's what we have most recently. And this is from Miss Beatty, and she says, "Love you ladies. I have procrastinated long enough. Finally giving you my 5 stars. You ladies are funny, smart, and always giving me something to think about. I do not always agree with your viewpoints, but it gives me something to think about. Keep up the good work." So shout out to Miss Beatty. Thank you for listening. And
listen, we don't always agree with our group.
Right, that's the one thing. We don't always agree with each other.
Well, and then honestly, I'm gonna say sometimes just in the conversation, I think about different points of view. And sometimes I change my mind while we're talking, and we don't ever go back and say, okay, we talked about this, y'all, so let me tell you what I think now. But sometimes
Funny you should say that, because we are going to talk about our very first episode, which is, it like I was telling y'all on our instant messenger, it was kind of cool for me to watch, because it started off being awkward, then it got, to be like real comfortable, but I was gonna, see if we still felt the same, about some of the things that we said on the podcast on our very first one. So we do get to revisit, yes. So Miss Beatty, shout out to you, and I see Howard has joined us in the chat.
Hey, Howard.
Who actually has perfect timing. He says, evening, ladies. Glad to be here. Seeing your resplendent smiles is always a joy. And Howard, I was just about to read your feedback that you sent a couple of weeks ago, because we were, we didn't have live episodes the last couple of weeks. So we got your email, but this is our first time being able to read it live. So, Howard, it says, what up, ladies? It's Wakanda's finest, a.k.a. Howard. And Howard always sends long emails. So thank you, Howard, in advance for breaking it up into 2 bullet points. So he says, number 1, the controversy over Bell Hooks calling Beyonce a terrorist. I've seen so many white feminists become incredibly sex positive, but people like Bell Hooks seem to believe that black women must be essentially asexual and maybe I've already had my first sip. Yes. Feminism means women have agency over themselves and their bodies. Yes, Beyonce is using her sexuality to make money, but she has way more control over her image than many other women in her profession. This reeks of respectability politics. And he's talking about when Bell Hooks, was it a panel she was doing with Melissa Harris Perry, or am I wrong?
I don't remember who was on the panel right now, because I never got a chance to actually watch it. It was a panel discussion, and several people live tweeted it. But I will say that, having read a lot of Bell Hooks, she's definitely not asexual, that's for sure. However, a lot of people critiqued her on that use of terrorists, but some of them felt like she was doing it to be controversial on purpose, just to get people to think differently about Beyonce for a while, or to think critically about her, not because she actually thinks that. I don't know what is actually in her brain, and because I didn't watch the actual panel, I'm not going to comment too much, but I did at least want to say I don't think she's asexual, and I do know that she chooses words carefully, so I'm assuming that she had some intent, whether she believes she's an actual terrorist, because she calls her own family a fascist in books. So she uses words, to kind of really be strong sometimes on purpose.
Well, I just like the irony of all ironies. They had her on Vine dancing off of Drunken Love.
Right.
So,
that's what I mean, right. Come on. I don't think it was, yeah.
So if she was a terrorist, it's like, she was still dancing to Drunken Love. But then,
to be fair though, who can't? Like, it gets into your soul. I mean, you can't control that.
That is true. She does inspire the twerk. I can't wait to get to the twerking part. And then he goes on to number 2. He says, in relation to R. Kelly, because this is actually, I see, this is Howard responding to our throwback Beyonce post. So we also talked about R. Kelly in that post. But he says, in relation to R. Kelly, after I explained my celeb theory that Michael Jackson wasn't a pedophile, but rather an earnest but socially awkward man with a bad opinion on sex due to his religious upbringing and watching his brothers and father's fuckery to a coworker, it got to R. Kelly. When I brought up
Did you read this already?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
When I brought up
Phenom wrote about R. Kelly, though.
Okay.
Yeah, Phenom wrote about R. Kelly. It said, when I brought up the list of girls whose families were ignored, the facts that millions of Illinois didn't care, the fact that the news of Illinois didn't care, and that everyone around Chicago treated it like a joke, she stated, because this coworker's female, she stated that women are devious and just there for money, and if the parents really cared, they never let him have a moment's sleep. I brought up the legal ramifications of vigilantism in any facet, and then she got mad and said people were just haters. I ended my argument with her with a Cat Williams quote. Don't nobody have the same shit said about them for 20 years straight and it not be true. If someone says you're a crackhead, then you are smoking crack. Same here. Anyway, hope to join you all for another live show, which he is doing today. He says, Sojo has a smile that can make December feel like May. Stay awesome. Thank you, Howard. So that's from Howard.
Let's talk about all the fan mail Sojo gets.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Wow.
We got Hustle Crow in the audience.
No. You're not gonna just like bypass and act like, come on, let's talk about it.
That's why you wearing the kitty mask, because you being catty. Happy anniversary, ladies. To celebrate, I poured up the pure white Hennessy. Cheers. Cheers. Cheers to you. And then let's see. Okay, hold on. I skipped one. I'm sorry. I skipped an email from Trojan Scooter. It says, "Hi ladies, I'm listening to episode 49 and want to share the titles of my favorite books." Because that's when we were doing, guys, we're still compiling our book club list on Pinterest. So Trojan Scooter, I am going to add these to our Pinterest. But he says they are 40 Million Slaves by William Roden, Being a Black Man by the staff of the Washington Post, Darwin's Athletes by John Hoberman, Invisible Man by Ellison, and Dreams from My Father by President Obama. Keep up the good work, ladies. So we will definitely be adding that to our book club list. So thank you for that. And then the last bit of feedback we got came from Leonard Brothers, who's the cognac of this show. And as we flash back over our year, we definitely want to give him a shout out for doing his Whiskey, Wine, and Moonshine, or WWM Pod 101 episode on his podcast, Look and Listen podcast, because that was another time for us to kind of reminisce on our beginnings. He says, I just wanted to send a quick note to say thank you for such a great podcast. You all are examples of the intelligence and beauty of Black women. I always enjoy my Tuesday evening happy hour with the whiskey, the wine, and the moonshine. As you know, I try to catch you all live each week when I can. When I can't, I usually end up kicking myself. This past week was one of those times. I ended up watching the episode at work and loved the things you all had to say on it. There were so many quotables and moments that had me smiling and nodding in agreement. I don't even know which episode he's talking about.
I know, which one?
But he says the only thing I couldn't fully relate to was the HBCU experience. I went to a PWI, but since everyone I hung out with was Black, my experience was as Black as it could be. We had a lot of Black events, organizations, etc. We also spent nights on each other's couches when you needed. It's the Diddy episode.
Y'all sure we didn't read that already?
We need it, as you all know.
Go ahead.
And Diddy mentioned, your memory is just so horrible.
But we're not going to focus on what you're reading.
I'm about to say.
You're the one that interrupted me. Anyway, and Diddy mentioned, sure, we were a minority group on campus, but that's true of the country as a whole. Also, there were a lot of Black schools near us, so we had plenty of opportunity to be on their yards and hang out, party with the brothers and sisters there. So for all intents and purposes, my experience was pretty Black while in college. Anyway, no matter where we went to college, if we went to college, it's good to see Black folks take that step if they choose it. Keep up the good work, and I'll see you in the chat room soon. Until next time, Leonard Cognac. So thanks, Leonard, for your feedback. So thank you guys for sending feedback to us. If you want to send us an email, like Howard and Leonard did, our email address is feedback@whiskeywineandmoonshine.com, and we also read 5-star reviews that you leave on both iTunes and Stitcher. Before we get into our theme, our anniversary theme, let's see. Get the business out of the way. Please help us stay #1 on Podomatic. Now, I know we haven't had live shows, but we slipped down. I want to say we went from 1 to 2 to 3, so we need to get back up to 1. So please help us stay #1 in our category on Podomatic. That shaman dude is still #1. I don't know what kind of voodoo spell I need to do, but yeah. But please, help us stay number one on Podomatic. We're also on TuneIn Radio. So if you enjoy online radio streaming, please use the TuneIn app, and then you can also save us in your favorites there. And of course, we're on iTunes. So, ladies, happy anniversary.
Where's the sound effects? Let's clap.
I'm sorry. Hold on. I had the Q&A up.
So we did the summaries of Orange is the New Black. We have the first one up, and the second one is coming soon, so don't forget about that. Watch it, or I'm sorry, you can't watch it. You can listen to it, and please forward it to your friends, and that holds true for all of our shows. Forward them to your friends who agree with us, disagree with us, and so forth.
Yeah, definitely.
Be our street team, people.
That's right. Be our street team. And definitely with the Orange is the New Black one, I really enjoyed doing that one. We got the new season coming up, so I think we are going to break that up into parts. So that gives people a quick little, introduction. If you have a friend that's talking about Orange is the New Black, say, hey, why don't you listen to this podcast where these ladies, talk about the show. Mm-hmm. But we are going to post part 2. I think this week, not sure, but
because it starts on the 6th, so we probably should do it before then.
You're right. Okay, so we'll upload part 2.
It might be pretty close to the 6th.
I was just about to say, Lady Buddha's in a hotel. She tricks for a living. So as soon as she gets back, see how she all sultry in the camera. Say hey again, Buddha.
Well, she's gonna leave the profession soon because
Yeah.
I was about to say
she's respectable now.
Yeah, we need to somebody needs to make an honest woman out of her.
You're so freaking ratchet. I can't believe it.
How is that ratchet?
I'm just saying, you in the hotel room. When you get back to your real internet, still post the
episode. You are so wrong.
Whatever. It's all love. Speaking of it's all love, I was gonna, when I realized it was our anniversary, I was like, well, hell, let's go back through our first episode and kind of, look at some stuff that we did or talk about some stuff that we talked about, kind of revisit some of the topics. So, I have pulled up our very first episode, which people may not know is actually on Spreecast. Before we went to Google Hangout, we were on Spreecast. And do y'all even remember, like, getting ready for the shows then?
No.
Mm-mm. I mean, just vaguely. And the only reason I remember any of it is because we did that 101 with Leonard Brothers. And, we kind of talked about, is that the one with the chair? Was that the first official one with all 3 of us?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only reason I remember, because you brought it up then, and it seems like that episode was not that long ago, even though I guess it was a while ago now. But that's the only thing I remember about it.
Okay,
I remember that I was actually
you.
drinking whiskey at the time, because I was, I had whiskey, and that's one of the few times that I was actually drinking it. So that was around the time that we came up with the name.
Oh, we're gonna get into that yet. Wait, Smart, did you see the names? I mean, did you have a chance? All right, we're going to share with the audience some of our test names that we had for our podcast before we settled on Whiskey, Wine, and Moonshine. So, Miss Smart, tell them what we could have been called.
Okay, we could have been called Spirit Animal for Hire, and that's an homage, obviously, to Lady Buddha and her tricking.
Listen here. This is not. Whoa! Was there some pre-planning? Is there a meeting?
No, not at all. This is all impromptu.
I feel like I missed a meeting.
Then we had put some boom in it for that rap group, and now just wait a minute. Hold up, wait a minute. Call it what you want. Listen up. Insert name here. Best podcast ever was already taken, but that would have been an awesome title.
That would have been a great name. I still like that one.
Femcast.
I still like that one.
5 mics, and I think she has this one taken too. Podcast that goes boom. Same script, different cast. The Grown Ups podcast. three real unicorns, which I personally like. A or the dope podcast, best case scenario, and I think this is one that Sojo really liked. Tits and tea, the best of both worlds.
You know what?
Sojo really did like that one.
So another one for Sojo.
But you know what? We were really close. I think that would almost.
That was really about to be our podcast.
The only reason it's not is because we felt like it wouldn't make it through filters.
I was just about to say we're a legitimate podcast now, so yeah, we would have.
Yep, that's true. Everybody loves boobs. Like everybody loves Raymond. Everybody hates Chris. Everybody loves boobs. Who doesn't? I mean, really. And then this happened. Sassy Stepfords and Stepford but sassy. Those are the things that were thrown out before we came to you with the liquor-based, alcoholic beverage-based title that you guys know us from.
So I'm getting ready to play our first intro. Now, just in full disclosure, before we did, our anniversary is actually this week, but during this week, I think Buddha was traveling.
I was doing the same thing I'm doing right now, except I was in a desert.
Yeah, you say that on this podcast. So you missed that one. So Miss Smart and I actually recorded one on our own, and it was kind of like a test one, you know, which was cool because that's when Miss Smart read my fan letter that I sent her from back in.
Oh yeah.
You did. You read it live on air when I was like, I'm such a fan of your blog, and like feel like I know you already.
Fangirl email.
Right. So and she surprised me with that on air. So then the one we're about to play for you is called And Then There Were Three, because this is when Buddha was back home, and so she was able to be on the podcast. So for those of you who are watching, you get to see the video, but for those of you all who are listening, you know, I'm just going to play just a quick little clip so you can see how how awkward we sound starting out for this first time. So hold on just a second. And this is the first time because I don't think you guys have seen it at all, have you? I mean, I've seen it since then. Okay.
I don't, yeah.
All right. So I am about to share it with you. Shut up. Stop talking, people. Stop talking.
Well, hurry up.
Would you stop?
Just saying.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, ladies.
Hey.
So we are back. And then there were 3. Last time it was just me and Miss Smart. And tonight we also have with us our other regular co-host, Lady Buddha. So we finally have a name for this podcast because the last time we didn't have one, so we just called it Insert Name Here. So do y'all want to tell the crowd what our name is?
Sure.
Who's going to start?
It's a hint.
Right, and
Here's
another hint.
And I had a hint last week, but I don't have it this week.
And your voice is bad.
My podcast is Whiskey, Wine, and Moonshine. Lady Buddha is the one with the whiskey. Miss Smart is the one with the wine. And if I were not sick, I would be the one with the moonshine.
All right. So that was our very first intro. I don't know if y'all could hear the clicking in the background.
No.
But that was my dog, Kadar. Rest in peace. He passed away in February. But yeah, so I was actually down here in the living room, and he was walking on the floors. So you could hear him off and on through the podcast, and you could also kind of see that was also the very first time that the 3 of us ever had a conversation together, because. Yeah, it was our very first conversation as the 3 of us, and the very first time you and Miss Smart actually talked to each other.
Right.
We instant messaged each other all the time for almost a year, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It was
But
a long
that was our
time.
very first time having a face-to-face conversation. So if you saw the awkwardness there for a minute, we had a couple of technical difficulties. Lady.
Well, I had the world's slowest. Well,
Yeah.
I had slow internet. So I was always behind. So I talked as soon as I heard things, but I didn't hear them until like 5 seconds after the fact. So yeah.
Which made the entire podcast very interesting, because there would be times where like we would say something and then you would giggle like 5 minutes later.
I know, it's the worst. Yeah.
Another thing I noticed that Smart said on this podcast was that she had started working on her headboard, or she had gotten some supplies to work on her headboard. And I just wanted to note that it is a year later, and I still don't have my headboard.
You don't, and I'm about to make me a new one. So if you want my old, actually, I'm gonna use my old one to make my new one. So I don't know what to tell you.
I thought you were gonna send her some supplies, Sojo.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know what? See how you gotta act. You don't even have to do that. That's
what you get.
You don't have to do that.
Hers too in a minute. Just wait.
So what ends up happening a few minutes later is, because this was our first podcast together, we kind of try. Now we go on themes. Like, we think about, okay, what do we want to talk about this week, and kind of build a theme around it. We don't really have strict structure. We let the conversation be organic, but because we hadn't really had a conversation as the three of us, we tried to almost script how things went. So we had everything scripted down to a T, and I was supposed to talk about the fact that that I had moved into like a cubicle space at work, and I had all these things that I was supposed to say, and then we were supposed to go through conversation from there. And it would have been fine if my air conditioning guy hadn't called me away mid-conversation, so I just got up in the middle of the podcast, and Buddha and Smart had to have a conversation with Buddha's internet being like a minute behind Smart.
Janky as shit. That's a technical term.
And so she was trying to keep it moving. So I'm getting ready to play just a little bit of that part.
No, I don't want to hear that part.
So hold on.
Wow.
Yes, we are having flashbacks. So hold on.
Let's move into one big room where we have all of our computers set up, and all of this stuff. And I think I told you guys when we were in the process of moving last week, I didn't understand. I didn't know about this cubicle life, because I'm not in corporate America, so I didn't understand about this whole, you sit in one big room and you have these partitions and you're supposed to do your work with all these people around you. Why didn't y'all tell me about this? Like, what's up with this? Because I'm about to go postal. I'm writing manifestos like Chris Sojourner. I'm going to take hostages. I didn't know. I really didn't know.
Here
so why
it
didn't y'all
comes.
tell me?
There's nothing to tell. There's no way to prepare for it. It just happens to you. I mean, there's you can't. And really, the quality of the situation depends hugely on the other employees. Because if you have crappy employees, then that makes the experience just that much more horrible. But if you have, in my situation, I have people who are silly and inappropriate, so it makes it, pretty okay.
Well, I could have warned you, because I don't live the cubicle life at all. I work from home right now in my.
Okay, so y'all go on for a few more minutes, and then
somebody didn't pay their taxes and were getting garnished. I knew about it, so I don't know where I was going with that, but there's no preparation for cube life.
And then silence.
Yes, we missed out on all the excitement, but now Sojo can fill us in.
Well, yeah, she can't fill us in because she's an empty chair right now.
I don't know if I would do well in this.
All right, so that happened.
Oh, and so anybody who's listening, just in case you missed that very first episode, I've gone ahead and posted on our site that very first email Sojo sent me. So
wait, what?
Oh, good. Yeah.
Oh, you ass, really? So when you said you weren't gonna be on your best behavior tonight, you were, golly.
That's awesome.
You didn't even have to. Okay. All right, cool.
I mean, it's no main.
That's so lovely.
I just put the date of 4/7/2005, and that's a long ass time ago.
Wow. We got some more people joining us in the chat. First of all, Hustle Crow says his man travels a lot, and that's how they're getting the suite down in Essence. Okay, talking about for the Essence Fest, free .99. So thanks for that, Hustle Crow.
It's true.
And then Rare Fine joined us, and she said, "Hi, ladies. Hi."
Yeah, I was able to go to well, me and Blue went to Broadway this week, and we were able to stay up there free because I'm always in a hotel. Ha ha.
You and who? I'm sorry. What?
What?
I'm sorry. You and who? What?
Is it to the blue?
Dear everyone.
I'm sorry, you're what? You're what? I don't.
Dear everyone. So because apparently this is going to come out.
It's already out.
Yeah, it's already out.
Sojourner and I do have to tell people how you told us.
Go ahead.
So I went to New York on Wednesday to go see my girl, Nika Noni Rose, in A Raisin in the Sun. And it's a trip that Blue and I planned for a long time. And before we made it to the show, he proposed to me. So I am now the future Miss Blue. So they were gonna tease me apparently all night.
Yes, we were gonna tease you. I mean, you know.
Wait. The way she told us, y'all, was like, "Hey, broads, could you pass the sugar to my fiance?"
Right. And so I'm sitting up there like going ahead with the conversation like, wait.
It was so funny because literally, so y'all, it was like 7:58, and we were in our seats, and they were just closing, about to open the curtains and shutting down the house lights, and I was like, I'm about to see Raisin in the Sun enter with my fiance. And so both of these ladies on occasion like to visit and participate on Team Skim. And so, so they saw the Raisin in the Sun part, and Sojo was like, "Oh, good, have fun." Wait, oh my God, so which is why I did it like that, cause
asshole, go.
So we were I was cracking up, but I had to cut the phone off.
But so Hustle Crow says congrats, and then the older comments in the chat says the nice thing about Spreecast was there was no jumping around as to who was on screen, and I agree. That's the one thing I miss is that you could see everybody's reactions all at once, because I think all three of us have very expressive facial expressions, so especially Smart. So it's like if somebody's see right now, if it was all three of us, you see the face that she just made. So I do hate that's not on Spreecast. And then Black Rob says earbuds and podcasts are the only way to survive cubicle life, and I agree. That's actually how I got through last summer. But the thing was in my office was that we weren't used to being in cubicle spaces, so they didn't respect the earbud rule at first, and they would still talk to me. But eventually they learned, earbuds and podcasts. So yeah, that is how I survived. And then Rob says congrats, and then Rarefine says congrats. So we are all very happy for Lady.
Thank you.
So before anyone asks, no, we haven't set a date yet. Okay, keep going.
No, because you know what's gonna happen? She's gonna casually say something like, my husband and I went down to the Piggly Wiggly.
Right.
Right. We trifling. We might just go to the justice of the peace and be like, "Yo, can you?"
I already know you. I already
got a judge in mind. I already know who the judge is. So
my meerkats will be there, but that's a whole nother story. That
And the giraffes. Hey, but listen. So the earbud thing, it's beyond the earbud cubicles, because I've been in my mind writing a review for the Black Guy Who Tips about how they have stopped me from losing my job. Like, listening to that has stopped me from turning around in my cube and being like, "Yo, bitch, I'm going, no words. I'm just gonna punch you in your fucking throat." Oh my God, it has helped tremendously to keep me in benefits.
Seriously. Podcast, period. I used to, like you said, be so close to snapping or leave me alone or, doing whatever. And then the thing, though, is that people start looking at you when you're laughing hysterically at a podcast because they're trying to figure out why you have an Excel spreadsheet up, but you're laughing.
And that's what I was yesterday when I was listening to Insanity.
Oh,
Yes, I was like doubled over. Like,
I haven't gotten to that. I haven't gotten to that one yet. I'm
you
still
got
working my way
to.
through.
Oh my God, you have to. We gotta like make that a topic. Like I think next week we gotta discuss. Like we gotta debrief.
Well, let's do it because we could talk about all that stuff. Because I used to online date and all that kind of stuff.
and so they scare me because I'm like, I want to do it, but then I like, they changed my perspective.
Oh my God! But no, it's not
No.
online dating because there were clear signs that Chris missed. There were some clear signs that he let ride. That I feel like I wanted to. Like, I was like, damn, I wish I could have been on that show because I would have been like, stop right there.
Yep.
Wait
Yep.
a minute. You know?
No, she just told you were crazy.
Right.
That's the hieroglyphics right there.
Right. You are still engaging, even though you're engaging in a calm and rational manner at the first point when she said lose my number. No. Like, no. No, at the first point when she said hotel, you know what?
I'm okay with the first point. The second time she said it, the apology, and then I take my apology back and all the kind of.
When she started talking in third person, I knew
God.
it was on the knot, setting up a wedding page.
But look, when Rob said
Hey, whoa. Are we going to talk about this?
part when Rob was like, I'm not mature enough to have this conversation, I was like, I am older than Rob, but I am standing. First of all,
I haven't gotten here yet. I haven't gotten that far yet. I haven't gotten that
in
far
my
yet.
bathroom mirror, like, no, don't go, don't talk about it. I was like, no.
Buddha hasn't gotten there yet. Let her experience.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Over her.
Okay, so let's
But
get
you all, this is how the WhatsApp chats go. And so I don't really have time to listen to podcasts because of the kind of work that I do and the kind of things that I have to work on. But so they start having these conversations like this one, and I have to go listen because now I'm like, what in the world? So they got me.
Worth it. The last two are like.
So I started listening to part of it.
Go. And Rarefind says she's got to listen to the Insanity Check. She hopes she doesn't cause ruckus in the office because of her laughter.
I'm sure you will.
The last two episodes, you got to listen. I think the first one, I can't remember what the first one was, but the second one is called Titty Deception. So you just got to, you got to listen, but you do have to have earbuds on because you.
The name says it all.
Right. So definitely. But going back
it's
to
called 5 out of 5 is the first one.
5 out of 5 is the first one. Okay, and then Titty Deception is the second one.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. The next thing we started talking about on the show was one thing I noticed was, okay, here's the thing that y'all didn't realize. Buddha is not really a drinker. So when we're talking about her, because she usually does stuff like, oh, I have some sangria. I'll do whatever. But she was drinking what?
I was drinking whiskey.
Yeah, so she got drunk, y'all.
It was whiskey and ginger ale ice, which I found out later is a highballer, except it was honey whiskey. So yeah.
You got progressively more and more intoxicated.
I was just a little loose.
So when we get to the twerking, that's just.
I did it on purpose. I wasn't like, it was fun. Oh look, my boss is calling me. How about that?
So
Go ahead, because it's 9 o'clock at night.
All right. Did y'all just see Buddha say it's 9 o'clock at night?
But by boss, does she mean madame? Because that's kind of how it was translated this way.
Right. That's what I feel, too. She's like, there's someone in the lobby for you.
I have a fiance.
Make that money.
Uh-huh.
Please get it together.
Hey, you know what?
Roberts in the end.
Cubos and floral arrangements are not free.
My fiance is not gonna take this conversation with me.
Sojo, he's gonna kill you. He can't get to me, but he gonna back you up.
Right. He lives too far away from me too. He gonna
back on topic.
Okay. All right. So so one thing I noticed was Buddha, as she got more and more comfortable. This is the moment when I knew that the liquor had hit you, was you got up to move. And so you got up and moved, I think, from the kitchen to like the staircase.
The stairs, yeah.
You started.
The lighting was better. The lighting was better.
But you didn't tell us that you were moving. So all of a sudden, I see you moving like a Spike Lee film, like your whole body's like going like this and, doing whatever. And then that's when you started like getting kind of out of pocket. So, let's see. So there is a story that I tell And just for y'all to know, she started yelling in this podcast too. So I tell a story about this barber at the salon, which is kind of long, but I got to play it so you can see her, kind of reaction to it. But what I noticed is that there's a theme that we have that Buddha kind of started, which is the power of and.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really recognize it until I re-listened. Buddha, you started with this when you were yelling.
I say it all the time, though. That is my motto, for sure.
Way back in episode 1. So I'm getting ready to play that one real quick. Hold on.
I don't know what you're talking about, but.
All right, so I'll start with the barber. Remember the barber and his ash? I don't know.
Oh, yes. I know exactly what you're talking about now. That was all you had to do. Yep.
Okay, so I'm getting ready to play that story, and then we'll kind of go from there.
I'll tell you on the flip side of that, this conversation I saw in the salon, because I go to a barber and beauty salon, so that's always like a gang of laughs the whole time, because you got men doing their barbershop talk, you got women doing their salon talk, but then sometimes the two worlds collide. So there was this barber, they were teasing about being ashy, because he really was, he was really ashy coming to work. So then he said, I'm a man's man, I don't have to, he said, I don't have to lotion, I don't have to moisturize, whatever. And he was like, part of y'all's problem is that y'all want these mental
Look at her face.
moves. And so then he got into this, and I understood what he was saying when he started talking. I still thought he could have used some baby oil or something on his knees and his ankles.
His skin gonna crack right off.
But, right. But what he said was, if I'm the type of dude where I like being outside, I like making shit, I like doing shit, whatever. And then he was like, when it comes down to the end of the world and you need somebody to reveal, he was like, well, first of all, he asked the women, he said, if you had to survive, I think he said in the woods or something, he didn't say zombie apocalypse, but that was my first thought because I'm a Walking Dead fan. But basically, he was like, if you have to survive on your own, would you be able to do it? And so then me, I was like, no, because I know myself. I would make it as best as I can, but hell, I don't know how to build a fire. I don't know how to do none of that shit. And so then he was like, well, I can, because I can do all these things. He said, I can build a hut. I can do this. I can do that. And so then a lot of the women started talking about, well, I can do all that too. I don't need you. So then he was like, well, then there is the problem. He was like, what's the point of me showing off all the man shit that I can do if all y'all are worried about is my ashy ass ankles? That's how he brought it all full circle. He was like, y'all worried about my ashy ass ankles and not all the man shit I do. But he made a point. Basically, I think what he actually kind of inadvertently pointed out, because the majority of the women in the salon were talking about what they could do and handle without him when he was trying to show off his skill set. So it was like almost to maybe that dude is the same dude that would think about getting up on the train, but then he looks at the woman who walks on, and then he's like, well, shit, she's always talking about how she can handle it, so fuck it, I'm not going to get up. You know what I'm saying? Whereas he probably would have if he felt like his manhood was being appreciated. Does that make sense? Because I'm not sipping on anything. And I feel like I just talked.
That absolutely makes perfect sense. But I can say that I have, it may be a gift or a curse, I have this thing about me that makes me look frail and helpless. And so I often encounter people asking, men and women actually, to help me do stuff. But back to the men situation, I totally understand, but why can't he, in present time, know how to start a fire and how to apply moisturizer? Like, why can't he coexist?
Yeah. I said, sir, I appreciate you building the hut. I said, and I will crack the coconut and moisturize your ashy ass ankles so that you don't have to walk around with your ankles ashy, because there's no reason for that. But I mean, I guess I got what he was saying, but it made me think about, like, is that the message that a lot of these guys are getting, or is it that they started doing that and then women started saying, fuck it, we don't need you? You know what I'm saying? What came first, the chicken or the egg?
I don't know, but here's my thing. What difference does it make? Like,
Here she
Why
go,
can't
y'all.
you also offer, regardless of whether or not I also have the ability to build the hut? Because I can build the hut, I can buy the hut, and I can negotiate with you that I will instead apply the moisturizer and get the moisturizer for you, and you can still build the fucking hut. But that doesn't have to take away my abilities just because, oh, I can, therefore, what you need me for. We can still coexist as a partnership, and you can be moisturized and not be walking around ashy as hell. Both of those things is not an or, it's an and it's an and whether it's across genders or it's an and whether it's within yourself.
But isn't that like
Yes.
for right now?
All right, so that is when I realized that we have been doing the power of and since episode 1.
Well, let me just say this. I feel like I need to break in and say this and put this out there. That was 30 pounds ago for myself. And so that was at the biggest I've ever been. So that big ass face.
Your face doesn't look big. What are you talking about? What video are you watching?
My face don't look like that. And actually,
And no one was watching. Just like 10 people watching, and now they're gonna all go and check you out.
well,
Right, they gonna be like,
That's
wait,
that bitch.
we
I
had
don't know
a
who she is.
smart a year ago? What? No, she
Like I
looks
said.
fine. She looks, for those of y'all who are in the chat, you see her. She's still beautiful as hell. So shut the hell up.
Same people. Now I don't even understand this part of the conversation.
Fat skins. Did y'all see that neck? Them protruding rolls?
I can't. You
No.
see how she, you know what? No, we don't.
But
How
I
about
still
that?
had curly locks.
But
So
let me just say this. Ladies, get yourself checked out because you might be gaining weight for medical reasons. That's all I'm saying.
Lord.
that's real talk. That's talk.
That
Yeah,
is real
that's
talk.
real.
That is real talk. So another thing, Smart, you did say, even though you talked about, you wanting someone that could apply, that could apply more, lotion or whatever, you did actually end up admitting that it really wasn't such a big deal to you after all.
In a zombie apocalypse or to The Walking Dead, I would prefer a Daryl versus a Shamar's eyebrows any day. Because Daryl still...
But let me hold on, time out. Because Daryl ain't moisturized his motherfucking ankles. Daryl is not moisturizing his ankles. Rick may moisturize his ankles. Shane will moisturize his ankles because he thinks that's going to get Lori's ass. But Daryl ain't moisturizing his
Who
ankles.
still has his sanity and who can still kill on sight? That would be Daryl. And I would take it. I will take him over all the other ones in anybody's zombie apocalypse. Because at the end of the day, while he may not moisturize, I can grab his hand and very sensually rub in some coconut oil. Right? But I would rather.
And listen,
Right. We all want a man with multiple talents, with the talents that count. I mean, what's the debate? Meanwhile, we sure was cussing a lot in those clips.
That's the other thing I realized too. I was like, oh my God. I was like cussing. I have toned it down a lot.
We all have toned it down a lot. Because I even cussed in that one, and I almost never curse on the podcast now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We've grown up so well.
We were foul mouth. We're gonna mark this one explicit for all that cussing you just played.
But I will say, and this is when we get into the feminism part of the podcast, which I really like, because I felt like at this point, again, the two of you had never had a conversation before.
Right.
I mean, so it just
face to face.
Huh? Yeah, not face to face. On WhatsApp all day long, all night long sometimes, but never face to face. So it's like at first, I think on camera we felt awkward in the beginning, but then our true
Wait. Let me just say this. Hustle Crow, thank you very much. But
hold on, I'm gonna read the comment. He said,
goodness.
Miss Smart finer than a mug. She is. I don't know what she's
doing. That's how you understand this whole part of it. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand.
Y'all can all say that, but y'all know my mama and the fact that she would look at you in shorts and be like, your knees. I can't see your knees. So you got to maintain something. And plus, I'm not old enough to let myself go. And I was at the point, and I had exercised and done everything I was supposed to do, and was still gaining weight. And so eventually doctor said, hey, this is why, and here's what you need to do, and it wasn't exercise, it was actually some chemical stuff to lose weight. So I can clearly see, and people at work, my boss, I was out for like 2.5 weeks, well, my boss's boss, and he was like, oh my God, like, woo, like your face, everything. And now seeing that picture from then, that video, is like, oh my God, I look, wow. Like,
you know, what's interesting about it is that I think we actually talked about it on one show, but I think this is worth us revisiting. It's talking about some of the things that happen to women that we don't necessarily pay attention to and sort of attribute to other things. Like, oh, well, I gained a little weight, but it's just stress weight. Or, oh, I'm taking this medication, but I don't even realize that this is a side effect of this. Or
Black women are always naturally bigger than everybody else.
Right, or even thinking I'm supposed to spread at this age, so it's all right. But if you're eating, you know, if you're eating the same, if you're exercising, if you're doing whatever, and you're gaining weight or you're not losing like you're supposed to, that it is important, you know, to see your doctor to try to figure out if it's something else. Because I don't think that's something that we do. So I do think it's a conversation worth having.
And see multiple doctors, because sometimes a doctor who's been seeing you for a while may have that attitude of, well, you are an African American woman, and ... And
Say that happened, or didn't you say somebody said that at one point? Because I remember that
happened. That happened several times where I had, and for other reasons, I have to have a lot of blood taken. And consistently, people would say, oh, it's okay, you know, your levels of insert issue that I have here are, you know, within normal range. So I ended up going to this black guy from Detroit, from the D, and he was like, he explained to me what normal range meant. Normal range only means that the lab says your normal range. That means nothing to how you function. So what my normal range is different from Sojo's and is different from Lady Buddha's, but you have to have a doctor that takes your personal history and personal ability, you know, in consideration in making these diagnoses. And so he was just like, listen, theoretically, what they say, it's in range, but no, this ain't. You shouldn't
go for you, but not
range.
Right.
Yeah.
Not your range of normal.
Exactly. And
good point. Yeah. So we have one more part of the conversation, and this is the part where we start talking about feminism, because this is what we used to go round and round about in our WhatsApp things. It's talking about feminism, feminists, blah, 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 blah. Oh, Black Rob says, you tripping.
Rob, hush up, hush your mouth.
But yeah, so we go round and round about feminism. Now, Buddha is, you do identify as a feminist. And so this is something that Smart and I have kind of shied away from. So we actually, and we weren't intending to get into this conversation, because this is when we completely went off script. I think we were supposed to talk about cubicle life and manners, but we morphed into a conversation about feminism. So this is part from that conversation. So let me just pull it back up. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds.
One second, 2 seconds.
I was just about to say, if anybody's going to feel this silence, it's going to be you. But anyway, all right, here we go.
I had, as a feminist, because I am, I had to challenge him and kind of be like, so what if there was a woman that you were interested in who did not subscribe to very strict gender roles? And he was like, what does that mean? Does that mean that I'm supposed to have the babies and do the cooking? And so I just didn't even engage him in conversation anymore, because anytime that you talk about something childbirth, which does happen in a female body, and cooking, which happens to any grown person who needs to feed themselves, or from any person that needs to feed themselves, why are we having a conversation about that? So it's true that I like to cook, but it's also true that I date men who also like to cook. And so we actually have a good time cooking together. That doesn't have to be a strict separation just because of my biology. So, yeah. I think it's all negotiable.
You said the F word. I don't mean fuck. You said the F word, and I don't mean fuck. You're a feminist. Define what you mean by feminist. I asked this because but here's my thing. I have shied away from that label because the I guess the examples of feminists that I've seen have not been people that I've wanted to associate myself with outside of you, because I've known you since I was like, hi. But no, but in all seriousness, I think that there are a lot of representatives of feminists that get a bad rep. But a lot of times when I look at how I live my life philosophy is I do what the fuck I want to do. Like that to me is the definition, or should be the definition of feminism. But what I tend to see within that definition is a lot of pushback against men. And I get it, because there are a lot of men that are just straight up assholes. I really do get that there has to be some pushback. But a lot of times when I'm seeing the way that it's done, it's so aggressive to where that's the part that turns me off. That's the part, because I enjoy gender roles. I enjoy being, doing traditionally feminine things. And I enjoy the men that I date having traditionally masculine roles. But then again, on the other side of that, I tend to date guys that like to cook. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But at the same time, there are things that I do that maybe, somebody else would think is masculine. But at the end of the day, I guess when you talk about being a feminist, like, what does that mean to you?
So, borrowing from Bell Hooks, the grande dame of Black feminism in particular, it's about the effort to end sexist oppression. So for me, I'm all about thinking about how we can move from forcing people into prescribed roles, especially those that render women as less than, and saying that, yeah, it's okay that men can be parents, and we don't have to think that only women can be parents, right? Those are the only ones that are worthy of parenting because of some special gene that makes it so that nurturing becomes outside of males, which is not true, right? That's a form of sexist oppression. But then on the other side, if I decide as a woman,
I was saying you and Miss Smart agree with that, because I think all three of us sort of bristle when we hear about men who say they babysit the kid. Y'all know those guys?
Right.
They'll be like, yeah, I'm babysitting my son today. What? Did you? That's your child,
Okay, and then we got in the conversation, and we actually see Lady Buddha, giving us a little bit of what feminists do for dance routine.
That's true. The twerk. She gave us the business.
She did.
I think
I'm saying booty, so I'm gonna say lady. How about that?
Don't show your booty.
Let me twerk for you.
Feminists don't twerk.
Because as a feminist, I also twerk.
You
feminist
writing the vagina.
And we also learned from Miss Smart what people from Detroit are like. So hold on.
Approach me thinking that I am anti-gender roles because I have a piece of education, sorority, la-di-da-di-da-di-da, Detroit. Apparently I'm supposed to carry razor blades under my tongue because of that. Yeah.
But you do?
No, I don't. I don't carry a gun. Hello? How would I mess up my mouth with all this dental work my daddy's Chrysler insurance paid for?
Except I gotta get my bottom teeth redone though, but that's.
But all in all, it was a very fun podcast. Even though we started out with our stops and starts in the beginning, it did end up being a whole lot of fun. So we do want y'all to go ahead and peruse our archives. Just to check out the podcast, because I pulled clips and stuff, but it was fun to actually revisit, especially on this year anniversary. But it is after 9. I know we started a little bit late, but I think we're winding up on that hour. So ladies, do y'all have any cheers that y'all want to give this evening before we sign off? Buddha, what do you have? Do you have any cheers? Have you even had a chance to think about it?
Well, I just thought about it just now. I'm going to give my cheers to Sojo for inviting me to be a part of this venture. So I really can't believe. I knew it's funny because I knew as time would go on that eventually we would get to the 1 year mark, and it seemed like it seemed far away at the time I was thinking it, and now here it is. So congratulations to all of you. So Miss Smart and Sojo, and just cheers for us to whiskey, wine, and moonshine.
Cheers. Miss Smart, you have cheers?
Yeah, I have actually two. My first is obviously to Maya Angelou, who, greatness. And when it was announced at work, someone announced it in our pod, and I made the statement that she had wanted life. When you make it to that age, and you've been through so much, you've been, raped, been a whore, been a madam, been a civil rights leader, been a writer. You have done so much. You wanted life at like around 78-ish, and to make it past then, I think that is freaking awesome. Now, having said that,
oh hell,
that is my proud moment. But my other moment is for a young lady who got into my spirit and stole my shape from when I was 27. And that would be one Rihanna Nicolette. I don't know what the hell her name is.
Y'all look like y'all could be related.
And right, and she reminds me very much of my sister. But my sister doesn't have that long face, but she certainly has the same exact shape, whatever. I want to give her a shout out to her because, well, I would never no, that's a lie. I would have been naked. So okay, so I want to give a shout out to her for rolling out in a bedazzled vagina cover, because essentially that's all it was. And being okay with it, and I expected nothing less of her. And her face said, "And fuck you. You will post this on the interwebs, and you will shut the hell up." And
you will talk about me for the next days.
While I'm smoking my blunt, my BD, whatever I'm doing, she didn't wore her hair out in public with a wrap with pins in it. She's like under fucks. Like it's just I love her. She's awesome. Cheers, Rihanna.
My cheers, both of y'all took the cheers that I had 3 cheers. The first one was gonna be to the two of you guys, because this has been an amazing year. I never thought that, I never thought, even when I read your blog for the first time, Miss Smart.
Wait, are you gonna cry? Because
I actually was choking on my moonshine, but I was like,
I'm about to have to clown you too.
No, I was like, this sounds like I'm getting emotional, and I'm really not. But no, but seriously, when I wrote you, I guess you posted the email that I sent you. But who would have known something that I wrote in 2005 that in 2014 that we would have a podcast and talk every week. And you guys are like my weekly happy hour, my standing date, which is crazy because I actually look forward just to us, even though it's a lot of planning and, us throwing stuff out at each other all week, but I actually like when we get on air and we get to talking and laughing and picking at each other and everything. That's just absolutely amazing. And Buddha, I never would have thought when we were trying out for North Star Reds and marching down the street, slinging our hair and then being online, like broke down and coming out on the set and yeeking and everything else. I never would have thought that we would be doing this. So this is so amazing. And I just want to say, cheers to you ladies, because I love y'all. Sniff. Okay, thug moment. And I definitely wanted to give a shout out to, Dr. Maya Angelou. She is just, such an amazing spirit. A friend of ours was talking about how sad she was that she had passed, but I was like, I'm just so.
What's the friend's name? What's her name? What's the friend's name?
Shut up. But actually, give her a shout out to Simply Diva, Ree. Shout out to you. But she had said that she was so sad. But I was thinking, but I'm not sad because I'm so happy and so blessed that she graced us with so much in her life. Just, even seeing people when they're going through all her quotes, my God, like she left us quotables for an eternity. So cheers.
She had bars.
She had bars. She had the original bars. And then my last shout out was to meerkats. Because meerkats are an underappreciated and often misunderstood mammal. And so I feel like that they... What?
Don't,
I'm trying to give my cheers.
And cut this out. Remember to cut this out when you do that.
No, and so, listen, can I? So anyway, a group of meerkats is usually called a mob, a gang, or a clan. However, I feel like they're more of a family. And so, excuse me, I am trying to give my cheers.
I have another cheers, by the way, but go ahead.
And so, because meerkats are like a family, I feel like they should be utilized in order to celebrate, just what can I get the meerkats? And so I feel like if we could get them together to do a dance routine for a celebration or maybe a wedding, that, this would be just an awesome part of maybe the ceremony or the reception. I'm not saying that we have to incorporate meerkats. I'm just saying that one half of the union is with you. So I just wanted to give meerkats some cheers this evening. I
can't stand it. Wait, but I do have one more cheers for real.
All right.
Which is only that, my screen name is Lady Buddha, and 14 years ago today, I became officially a Buddhist. So I just want to give a shout out to Rodney, and I was able to stand in for as his best friend at his wedding this past weekend. But Rodney was the one who introduced me to Buddhism, so I just want to give him a shout out. So cheers to him. Cheers. And cheers to my fiance. And I'm going to thump you, Sojo, for your meerkats shout out.
But fiance is going to love it because we are Team Meerkat all the way. Y'all will look for meerkats.
So I think the real question is, are we going to put out the call for praise mimes?
I feel praise mimes, meerkats, and a giraffe. I don't need...
For her wedding, yeah.
Nah, this is all inside baseball stuff about this engagement.
Just one giraffe. That's all I'm asking. One giraffe. Just one.
I want praise mimes, and I know people who can make it happen, but I don't want to just, give the job directly to them. I want some competition. And I know there are multiple praise mimes. And
who is down with, he's also down with, just so y'all know, if anybody has a camel, he's also down in riding in on a camel and a turtle.
If you have access to Jay-Z is what we're saying. You have access to Jay-Z, make it happen.
Right.
Kind of do. Well, I don't know.
Rarified says, congratulations to you guys on your 1-year anniversary. I came in a few months ago, but I was hooked the first time, and we have definitely enjoyed you. I saw you for the first time in the Black Guy Who Tips, chat or whatever, and I was like, yay, she's watching our show. That's cool. So thank you, for joining us for this crazy ride. So ladies, give us where we can be found. Go ahead, Buddha, and start with your information.
I'm at ND Collier, COLLIER, and you can find me, and that's on Twitter. And you can find me on the internet, my blog at www.baccckkkk.com. What is so funny?
Black Rob.
Yeah, this is about to be the most spectacularly ratchet wedding ever. It's not going to be.
Spectacularly ratchet wedding ever. This is why she's not going to go ahead and get it over with. Because if I have anything to do with it, we will have meerkats, a camel, a giraffe, and praise.
The meerkats and giraffes and camels have been an ongoing joke.
No, it's not a joke. It's not a game. They have already been
the whole year. Every time it even came up as a possibility, there was Sojo talking about meerkats.
Anyway,
www.coccostudio.com, COCO Studio singular, just one, coccostudio.com. Miss Smart.
Hi, people. So what Lady Buddha said is true, that Sojo has been a proponent of the wildlife at a wedding and or wedding reception for the entire time of their dating. It's been ridiculous. And I support her because I like ridiculous shit. It's a part of my cornerstone.
There's no ganging up.
No, well, ridiculousness is a cornerstone of my whole persona. Like, I was in a wedding that involved butterflies and multiple wedding dresses, so you know I love.
Oh my God! Yes, butterflies.
Right. Yes, and a lighting man.
Not doing wildlife.
A lighting man, because
fireworks and bubbles,
but on the dance floor. In cursive on the dance floor. I know a guy. He's in Georgia. Yeah. Anyway, so where am I located? I live, in theory, right along with Adam and what's the girl's name who was in you know, the show with the girl and the Whoopi Goldberg.
I know what it is, but I'm not even going to enable you right now.
Whoopi Goldberg. What was her name? And she's with Will.i.am and all the crew.
Nope.
Okay. Well, whatever her name is, I live in Theory, Maryland, and you can find me at the big liquor stores. And by liquor stores, I mean in the wine aisles, and at the Target. And I used to have a blog, but I don't have it anymore, and I'm not going to lie and say I'm going to do anything with it. So, yeah. So, you can find me on our website, www.whiskeywineandmoonshine.com, or our Twitter page as a unit, Whiskey Wine Moon, or my personal... What?
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say, what about yours?
Or see, if you hold your horses, if you went so fast, you know, on my own personal Twitter, that would be think_p_smart. Great. I mean, if you want to communicate with me or us, that's fine. I occasionally do television shows, not all the time, but yeah. So anyway, Sojo.
I would like to say to people, you know, we get follows, but y'all talk to us. Like, you know, we talk back. So
That's true.
Yeah, shout us out. If you're a listener of the show and you follow us on Twitter, please engage us in conversation because we definitely like to talk to people.
Even if you disagree with us.
Yeah, even if you disagree with us, be like, you know, no. But Ms. Smart already gave our website, whiskeywineandmoonshine.com. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/whiskeywineandmoonshine. Twitter is @whiskeywinemoon. We're on Podomatic, iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn. My Twitter handle, which I just reactivated because I am ready to talk again, is @SojoXOXO. That's SOJOXOXO. My website is www.feminyin.com. That's FEMINYIN.com. And just so y'all know, Hustle Crow says she about to tank Young. I think so. And then Black
What does that mean? What does that mean?
We'll
You about to mess up.
And then Black Rob says meerkats, camels, giraffes, and the groom riding in on a camel. That was outstanding. This needs to happen. So Blue, I know you're gonna listen. You're gonna listen to this. I just want Blue to know that he's already approved it and he has the backing of the Whiskey Wine and Moonshine family. But with that,
I'll get a ticket. I will get a ticket. I will wear a semi-appropriate dress. Actually, no, I'll wear a polka dot dress because that's whatever. That's acceptable. And you know, I mean, I'll spray the air so you don't smell. I don't know.
The giraffe booty, right? You won't smell the giraffe booty at all.
Giraffe ass. You know what?
We're trying to work with you. We're trying to work with you.
But thank y'all for joining us this evening. Definitely catch us next Tuesday as we're live at 8 o'clock. And also be on the lookout at some point. Hopefully, probably by this weekend is our wrap up of Orange is the New Black. And if you didn't catch the first one, it is the episode before this, 54. It's us discussing Orange is the New Black, and we'll be back with some updates of that. So we'll see you guys next week. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to grab my glass. Wait a minute. Hold on.
We're supposed to grab your glass. Let's do it again. All right.
Mine is empty, but okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cheers.